Hey everybody, all two of you that are in here. Um, I meant to put some kind of promotion out earlier. Um, Fortunately, I got a little busy this afternoon, and I'm going to tell you guys why here in just a second. Um, which kind of delayed me doing this a little bit. Um, So I'm sure you guys won't mind, especially when you hear what caused me to be behind with my promotion. But anyway, I want to remind everybody that Saturday I'm going to be doing yet another watch along. This is going to be a Thanksgiving themed watch along. Um, and it's going to be a horror movie. And no, it's not going to be Home Sweet Home, but it is going to be Blood Rage. Not Blood Rage, the Yoo-Hoo Killer, but Blood Rage, the twins, Todd and Terry, one of whom is a killer. So, hey, 71. Now we're down to one person in here. Hey, there's Texas, and he says Wolf Cop. Um, I am unfazed tonight, Texas. Even if you talk about Wolf Cop, I will be unfazed tonight. Um, but I wanted to remind everybody about that. I do have a good, like it must be an HD. I think it is an HD link on YouTube for Blood Rage. So yay for that. So it'll be easier for everybody to watch along. Anybody that has access to YouTube. Hey, Menelec, can't even talk, Menelec. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, Werewolves Within. um, I'm not even sure. If that's a movie, I don't believe I've seen that one, Texas. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody about that. And if you're interested in joining live on the stream for Blood Rage Saturday, that'll be starting at, guys, I can't even think. Starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. I don't know if Steve, aka the captain, aka Captain B Plan, will be doing anything on Saturday. I haven't heard him say. But regardless, I will be doing my watch along at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But tonight, um, I am planning, or I've got my stack of movies here to talk about. Not too many, but Darren did express an interest, and I think some of you, I can't remember exactly who, but I know that Darren specifically expressed an interest in me doing the New York Slashers show. Um, so that's what I'm doing tonight, in case any of you didn't see the exact promotion for it. 71, you said the way the last 2 weeks have been, I'm ready for some blood rage. All right. Um, and let me know if any of you are interested in joining the live stream on Saturday, and I can send you the link. But I've also started putting the link in the chat as I did today. So for any of you that are interested in joining me tonight for the New York Slashers stream, feel free. Again, you don't have to be on camera. You can be audio only if you choose, or if you don't have a webcam, which I know is Texas's case. So just let me know at any point in time during the stream if you decide you want to join. If you want to be on for Saturday's live stream, the watch along for Blood Rage, you can also let me know. I will also be putting the link in the chat at that point. I have room for 9 other people anytime I do a stream. So feel free to say you would like to hop on here. Sorry, my hair is kind of messed up. So, before I get in on with these movies, and that'll also give people a chance to get in here that maybe have an interest in hearing me blab about New York slashers for a little bit. Um, the good news as to why, well, one reason why I was a little bit late, getting my promotional stuff out. And I was planning on starting this at 8 o'clock, but I had to push it back to 8:30 because I couldn't get my button gear and get things exactly right. And I think it looked like something was going funky with my glasses there. I have to put extra nose pieces on my glasses since I got these different glasses, or they won't stay up on my nose. So sometimes when I sweat a lot on my face, or unfortunately if I cry or anything too much, these nose pieces, the glue, the little gummy stuff on them starts to not be so adhesive. And I could see on the camera that I'm probably going to have to replace one or both of them. But anyway, now I'm trying to get my hat back. Okay. So anyway, the good news. I got a text from the IT manager at Smile Doctors. This thing is looking crooked again. I don't know if it's because of the camera. Ooh, sorry about that. This is just driving me absolutely bonkers because it looks like this cap is completely crooked. I don't know what's going on here. All right, guys. I had this thing where it was looking right. I thought it was looking right, but now it is just askew, just all over the place. And I don't know what is. Can y'all notice that it's askew? Is it just me, or is something going on here? Maybe I just need to quit fooling with it. I don't know. But it was just aggravating the heck out of me. So, anyway, I did get a text from the IT manager at the Smile Doctors, and he said, "Hey, Dana, it's Stephen from Smile Doctors." He said, "When would be a good time to call you?" And I thought, "Well, hey, this is probably a good sign." I tried not to get too excited, but frankly, I was. Because it's been my experience, if you don't get the job, they don't usually call you. They usually send you one of those form emails or form letters, whatever you want to call them, telling you that they decided to move on. But he wanted to know what a good time to call me was, and I said anytime. I was actually out there, doing a little bit of a walk and had my Echo buds in, but I had my phone on me and I felt my phone buzz, so I knew that I had gotten a notification of some sort. And so, I checked, and now my hair's all messed up. Yeah, 71, you're right. Cursed hat day and cursed hair day, too, evidently. Um, so he called me within a couple of minutes and he said, "Hey, Dana, how you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing good." And he's like, "How would you like to come work for Smile Doctors?" And or he said, "Would you like to come work for Smile Doctors?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Okay, important question." He says, $20 an hour going to be okay? I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Okay." He said, "When can you start?" I said, "I can start as soon as you guys need me to." And he said, "Well, since the Thanksgiving holiday is coming up soon," he said, "how about we get you started the following Monday after Thanksgiving?" I said, "That would be perfect." And I was just, guys, I can't even begin to tell you how elated I was to hear the words "welcome aboard," and they're going to be sending me some equipment. So I'm not even going to have to be using my own equipment, evidently, um, which I wouldn't mind if they had asked me to do that. I mean, that wouldn't have been a big deal. I have used my own equipment at times. Um, I'm sure I'll be using my own internet, but uh, yes, 71. You say woohoo. You say, um, are you working from home? Yes, I will be working from home. It's 100% remote job. Their headquarters are in Texas. So there's no way that they can, ask me to come. They made it clear that this is a 100% remote job. I will not be required to be on site in any capacity. So I was thanking the good Lord. I was thanking everybody, and I told Steve about it first. Called him, talked to him, told him, called my mom and dad and told them, went over later and told my neighbor and my friend about it. Right. Texas, I'm going to put this up here just because I have to. Um, well, I don't have to, but I want to. Congratulations. FU stockyards. Yes. And 71 says FU stockyards. Yeah. I mean, and I did, I wanted to go ahead and tell them I quit. Because, next week they're going to fire me anyway. So I want to tell them I quit before they can tell me that I'm fired, just because that's my pride again. And so Steve, for whatever reason, doesn't want me to tell them I quit, because I already told him. I said I'd like to come pick up my personal items um, at at my desk, and I said, would it be okay if I sent Steve after work? Well, at first I asked about Friday, which Friday's Veterans Day, and I guess evidently they're going to be closed. And they're going to be closed Tuesday. So my former supervisor, my ex-supervisor, whatever way you want to look at it, said, would it be okay to do it? Well, maybe they're not going to be closed Tuesday. She said Tuesday or Thursday. Um, and Steve said he guessed Thursday after work would be fine, and they said that was fine. And so I guess either they're gonna let Steve come in there and get it, or they're gonna box up my shit and bring it out to him. My ex supervisor did say that he would need to bring a photo ID because they don't know him. So uh, I will make sure that. I mean, I'm sure Steve will have his license on him, and he also has a photo ID, I think, for the Ford company too. So yeah, and then I think I'm gonna sell off my other keyboard because it was a clickety clack, like typewriter like style keyboard, just like I've got at home. And you know, if I'm gonna be working from home all the time now, then I don't need one keyboard for the office and one for home. I just don't need all that. So I'm probably gonna try to sell off the other one. So if somebody knows somebody that, or you would want one, um, just ask me about that, and I'd be glad to make you a good offer on it. Um, and if you don't, I mean, I could probably sell it through eBay or something. So, wow, we have 6 people in here. That's very good for me being so late. That could be possible, but we do have 9 people in here. So I'm going to go ahead. Well, now it dropped down to 7, but I'm going to go ahead and get started with the movies. And again, you guys may disagree with some of these that I picked, which is perfectly fine. Number one, you might not consider them slashers. Number one, or number two, you might not consider them necessarily New York City slashers either. But I tried to be a little discriminate when I pick these, but I do apologize if one, I've either missed any that you think are New York slashers, or two, I picked some that you do not consider New York slashers. So, the first one is, of course, 1980s Maniac starring Joe Spinell. And I will say I could have included Cruising in the stack tonight, but being as I just did a watch along for Cruising, um, I thought, well, we've discussed that one a lot last night during the watch along. So I'm gonna leave that one out of the stack for now. If I do a second one of these, um, I may cover it then. So, but anyway, 1980s Maniac starring Joe Spinell as the title Maniac, and so a little bit of a plot synopsis about Maniac in case, any of you in here or anybody that might watch this later may have not seen it. So Frank Zito, a career performance by writer and executive producer Joe Spinell of Rocky and The Godfather fame, is a deeply disturbed man haunted by the traumas of unspeakable childhood abuse. And when these horrific memories begin to scream inside his mind, Frank prowls the seedy streets of New York City to stalk and slaughter innocent young women. Now Frank has begun a relationship with a beautiful photographer, Caroline Monroe of The Spy Who Loved Me, yet his vile compulsions remain. These are the atrocities of a human monster. This is the story of Maniac. This does have effects by Tom Savini. It's directed by William Lustig. Um, this film was originally banned or censored all over the world due to its graphic violence. Now, Blue Underground put this out. This is the 4K of this. Um, now, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. This is probably the best this movie will ever look. But unless you're just an absolute uber fan of Maniac, I would say if you've got a Blu-ray of this, then you're fine. I wouldn't say go run out and buy a 4K of it and spend an extra 30 to 40 bucks on it. So I remember the first time I watched Maniac, and I was like, "Holy cow! This movie is pretty rough." And I'm not gonna lie to you, if you're a person that hasn't seen this and you want to try to seek out a for free version and watch it, I say more power to you, but just beware that it has a lot of yes, Maniac just oozes sleaze X-ray. It definitely does. Uh but not only that, but this is a very gritty film. Looks almost like, I mean, a documentary almost. And it feels like if a serial killer did a documentary on their actual murders, that this is how it would look. And although it is not as dark and depressing, in my opinion, as say something like Henry Portrait of a serial killer, um, it still pretty much pulls no punches. There is quite a bit of blood letting in this movie. Um, Tom Savini actually gets to blow his own head off. He is only referred to in the credits as Disco Boy. There's Disco Boy and Disco Girl, which is his date. They leave the disco and they go out parking, and the maniac comes along and blows Tom Savini's head off. But it was actually Tom Savini who blows up a mock-up of his of his head. So, and that is pretty graphic. I mean, it explodes. You got a shotgun in close proximity, blowing up a head full of God knows what, and the fake blood splattering on the girl in the car, and just really, really graphic. And not only does it deal with that, it also deals with the child abuse that Frank suffered at the hands of his mother. In that respect, it is similar to Don't Go in the House. And I see the mayor, he says, I watched Don't Go in the House yesterday. It definitely would be a perfect film to pair with Maniac. I believe that both of them came out about the same time. I believe you're right, Mayor. Um, and I actually don't have Don't Go in a House in my stack, but I am planning on having another one, a second one of these. So at that point in time, I will definitely cover Don't Go in the House. Um, but so you have a lot of very dark, not easily palatable subjects in this film, plus loads of blood. Um, some. Oh, Brandon. Sorry, guys. Hold on just a second. Brandon, you knocked over my light, Bubby. Come on, move over. Come on. Brandon, if you want to go back in there, go in there. Brandon's not gonna settle down tonight. Let's see. X-Ray, you say, I feel like Fulci's New York Ripper took elements from Maniac and Cruising. It certainly seems that way, and I am going to talk about New York Ripper tonight as well, X-Ray. But, I'm not going to talk too awfully long about these movies, all, each one of them in turn. But I do want to give a kind of just a brief overview of them and the thematic elements that are in them. Like I said, this is the 4K. There are 2 discs in this. This was put out by Blue Underground. And I believe, hold on. This is actually got the Blu-ray that has the 2018 restoration, as well as the 4K with Dolby Atmos, in case you're interested in that. Keep in mind, it is not rated. And that, guys, is Maniac. The next one, like I said, I'm going to talk about, and this is Steve's copy of the 3-disc limited edition Blu-ray. I thought he had a 4K, but I couldn't find it. Excuse the artwork, ladies. He hasn't even taken all the plastic off of this one. But this is Lucio Fulci's The New York Ripper. And so someone is taking a big bite out of the Big Apple. A blade-wielding psychopath is on the loose, turning the Big Apple bright red with the blood of beautiful young women. As NYPD Detective Fred Williams, Jack Headley, For Your Eyes Only, follows the trail of butchery from the decks of the Staten Island Ferry to the sex shows of Times Square, each brutal murder becomes a sadistic taunt. In a city that never sleeps, the hunt is on for the killer that can't be stopped. Co-written and directed by acclaimed horror maestro Lucio Fulci and filmed on location in the mean streets of New York, this is one of Fulci's most savage and controversial thrillers. Now, Blue Underground is proud to present The New York Ripper in a new 4K restoration from its original camera negative, completely uncut and uncensored, and fully loaded with exclusive new extras. This is not rated as well, guys. Um, and This does have an unusual killer, and by that I mean he talks like a duck. He talks like a duck when he's talking to cops or somebody else on the phone. Um, and, and that makes it kind of a little more unique than your standard slasher movie, and kind of unique for Fulci because guys, golly, stand flies. I was trying to hit it and kill it because it's driving me absolutely bonkers. Um, we almost had them gone and then they started sprouting back up. Maybe I do have a dead body under my desk, like Texas said. Mayor, you say, I've got that edition too. I love that Blue Underground included the CD soundtrack. My copy of Maniac is the same 4K restoration on Blu-ray. Blu-ray also has the CD. I think I have that as well. And Steve probably wonders why I don't get rid of my other versions of Maniac. And I think mainly it's because of that lenticular, that reflective cover like the New York Ripper. But guys, again, the New York Ripper does not pull any punches as well. And it's sleazy. It's ultra sleazy, whatever way you want to look at it. And that may turn some people off. Um, but I'm really more, and this might sound a little sadistic, but when I'm watching a Fulci movie or I'm watching a William Lustig movie or something like that, I know what I'm in for when I'm going to sit down and watch one of these guys' movies. And Fulci didn't always do ultra sleazy kind of sex related murder movies. He didn't always do that. Fans of Fulci know that he knows that he did rather. He did zombie films, and I think he'd even done some comedies and some westerns and what have you. So, he was kind of a one-stop shop for movies, but it seems like almost all of these guys have dipped into the sleaze pool at one time or another. Um, and not just foreign guys, not just American directors. It's been a mix of them. So um, just be prepared. The New York Ripper is not. If you're used to watching Fulci zombie stuff, just be prepared. That this is going to be quite different than those types of films. Um, Decent little film, not my favorite Fulci film, but an interesting film nonetheless. I mean, it's not boring. It is, and I've heard several people say this, it is very mean spirited. So beware of that. It's not Fulci trying to have fun or anything like that. It is just we're gonna throw all the sleeves up here and see how much of it sticks on the wall, literally. I would recommend it, but if you've never seen it before, please don't go spend money on it. Please find a for free version. And then if you decide, hey, this is something that I might really want to watch more than one time, then yeah, by all means, seek it out. But it's probably not going to come cheap if you do decide to purchase it. So that is the New York Ripper. Something sounds like it's rattling there. That's not a good sign. Now, the next one is a Friday the 13th movie. And you know which one I'm going to talk about because which one takes place part of it anyway, the last portion in New York City. And that is Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. And yes, Mayor, that is correct. Let's not forget Conquest, where he went to a fantasy movie similar to Conan. Yes, actually, Uncle Bill and he invited me on one of his streams to when he was doing the Tuesdays with Fulci, and Conquest was one of them that we talked about. And I had never seen Conquest before, and I watched it before I did the live stream with Uncle Bill. And yeah, I was quite surprised at this movie. I didn't dislike it. It just was different than any other Fulci movie I'd seen. Part 971. Does does Part 9 take place in New York? Or am I calling this one the wrong one? I thought this was Part 8. Am I wrong? Is it Part 9? I was thinking Jason Goes to Hell was Part 9. I'm pretty sure this is Part 8. Okay. Uh, X-ray, you say Part A is an insult. 80% boat, 15% Canada, 5% New York. Exactly, X-ray. But I hope you won't hold it against me for including this one in there. Uh, Mayor, you say, yeah, I was in the chat for that Tuesdays with Fulci. Okay, cool. So a little bit. Okay, well, I just was I was double checking myself, 71. Uh, I believe Part 9 is like Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, and then there's Jason X, which is Part 10. But that's okay. I don't mind that, you know. It made me go back and check because I was not sure at first. Yes, there was a great harpoon kill on this one. So again, I'm going to give a little plot synopsis. I know probably everybody and their mother knows all the plots to all the Friday 13th movies, but I'll go ahead and give it anyway, just in case. The Big Apple's in big trouble as indestructible psycho fiend Jason Voorhees hits the road to New York City and paints the town red. Well, not really, but anyways. After a shocking return from beyond the grave, the diabolical Jason ships out aboard a teen-filled love boat bound for New York, which he soon transforms into the ultimate voyage of the damned. Then one of his terrified victims escapes into the nightmarish maze of Manhattan subways and sewers, only to confront Jason one final time. The imposing Kane Hodder plays Jason with unholy relish in this unholy eighth installment of the horror series. And also, it's not confronting Jason for the final time either. We all know that now. Um, but yeah, for the most part, this is your typical stalk and slash. Only, as X-Ray pointed out, it's 80% of it is on the boat. And then you've got 15% in Canada and 5% that's actually in New York. So a lot of people refer to this one as Jason Takes a Cruise Ship. That's the big joke. And also, you'll notice I think the original, I killed one of those damn things, and there's another one around here. And I'm like a monkey trying to grab it. You know, you see the monkeys in the zoo trying to grab those damn flies. But I'm trying to kill these things, or at least killing the ones that are swarming around my head today because I'm tired of them. I've killed like 3 of them, and I don't know where they're coming from, really. But But yeah, 71, you're right. There is a great harpoon kill. But what I was going to say before that fly distracted me is there used to be artwork for this, especially on the posters, the early posters that have a I love New York, and Jason's like kind of stabbing through the I love New York sign. evidently, New York City was none too thrilled about that. I guess thinking that it made New York City look bad, as if it could look bad anyway. See, there's another damn fly that's swarming around my microphone. That'll be four of them that have been around here, and I just don't understand. I think they're coming from the kitchen and just kind of migrating back here. I don't know why they got so bad again. Um, and then I can't get them to kill them. You can't even get these damn things with a fly swatter because they're too small. You miss them all over the place. But anyways, I'm going to get back to the movies. And maybe if it lights on my desk or something, I can kill it. Uh, so, other than that, though, it is pretty much standard Friday the 13th there, standard stalk and slash. Jason stalking these young people through a cruise ship and killing some of them off. And I admit some spectacular ways. I love Kane Hodder playing Jason once again. And it's not a horrible movie. It's not my favorite Friday the 13th movie, but it's still enjoyable. And I still really enjoy watching Kane Hodder as Jason in any Friday the 13th movie. So, it has its perks. And maybe I got that thing. I hope I did. Maybe that'll be the last one. Um, but and I do still like to watch this one. I don't, actively hate it or anything like that. It's not like Jason X or Freddy versus Jason or anything like that. I would rather go back to this one than I would some of those others. Actually, you say when I was a kid, there was this cool mural of the famous Friday 8 poster near my school. I wish I had the foresight to take a photo of it back then. Long gone. Oh wow, that would have been awesome, X-ray. Mayor, you say, do you think that maybe one of the dogs might have went potty in the house and that's what attracting the flies? Uh, well, over time, and I'm not insulted by this at all, Mayor. The dogs have went potty many times in the house, but I always end up cleaning it up, um, and they just seem to stay around here. I mean, even if we keep all messes cleaned up, we don't leave any food out to attract them. I keep everything sealed up. I try to keep, no sticky stuff on the counter or left on the counter. I clean everything, clean the bathroom. See, there's another one that's flying around here. And they're usually not so bad back here. But now they've really gotten bad again. So I can't, somebody said you need to figure out what's spawning them. And so far, I've not been able to I've not been able to figure out where they are spawning from. My mom seems to think that maybe it's damp, wet underneath our house. And she said my granny's house, it was like that. And she had a leak somewhere under the house and it had to be fixed. And she was overrun with flies. Um, and so I've tried to tell Steve that I think maybe, see, our house is on a concrete slab, but that doesn't mean that things couldn't get damp, either on that concrete or even in the earth underneath that concrete. If you got a leak somewhere, it's bound to make something damp, and that can definitely, like, moist, humid type of atmosphere is what draws these things. Every time it gets hot or like it is now and it's warmer than it should be for that thing is flying right in front of my face. But I'm waiting for this thing to light. See, I still didn't get it because it flew away. They must see the shadow or somehow sense the shadow of my hand coming down to slap it. Like, I hadn't had them this bad back here in a long, long time. But see, they're flying around my mouth. They're just really, really bad right now. And I know it's gross. And guys, I do apologize. And I'm afraid I'm going to open my mouth one of these times to talk. Um, and one's going to fly right in my mouth. Um, but yeah. And I don't, I just don't know what it is, but anyway, Steve won't let me keep it cold enough in the house, and when it's 70 something freaking degrees in November here in Kentucky, and it shouldn't be, it should be cooler, then I notice an increase in these things. When the house gets muggy and hot, because Steve will not let me, turn the air down so it'll come on, we get more of these. But again, I can't make him understand that. And they're also evidently attracted to my light up here, the light on my computer. They're like a lot of other flying insects. They're attracted to the light. So, um, yeah. But X-Ray, you said Jason also died in that one if you don't count what came after. Yes, that is correct. In 71, you say, you. Um, Mayor, you say, I thought maybe they went somewhere you didn't see it. You never know with dogs. Oh, yes. I mean, we had that a lot when we had carpet in the living room and in the hallway between the living room and the bathroom, the living room, and me and Steve's bedroom. But we've had all that taken up. It was cleaned real good underneath there. That old carpet is gone. And we now have like, it's not hardwood floor, but it's kind of, it looks like hardwood floor when it's put down. It's uh, vinyl that, oh gosh, I cannot get that last damn fly. Um, but yeah, I get it. I mean, there could be. Yeah, Texas, we've tried fly strips. I've tried fly strips. I've tried um apple cider vinegar that's supposed to drown the damn things. I've got something called a catchy that you put a sticky trap in the bottom of it, and it has a fan that runs and kind of an ultraviolet light, and it sucks them down in there and sucks them on the fly strip. That thing gets covered. I actually need to change out the sticky trap in it. We've tried sprays, specifically for fruit flies. I've tried something called fruit fly punch. I've tried these fruit fly traps, and they just keep coming. And I talked with a guy, like one of these pest killing places, and they said that you've got to figure out where they're spawning from. If you don't figure out where they're spawning from and get them at the source, then you won't ever get rid of them. So yeah, I've tried. I have tried everything. 71, everything. Even stuff that people say is guaranteed to kill them and keep them from breeding. Um, yep, yep. Tried all, tried all of those things. All of those things. I mean, I wish, we've had these things for over 2 years now, and we cannot get rid of them. They won't die in the winter. They won't, they just get in here and like hide out. It's exhausting. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next movie, um, which is Dress to Kill, which I just got in the Kino Lorber 4K not very long ago. I haven't had a chance to watch the 4K, so I can't uh, comment on that. But So, a disturbed woman adrift in steamy sexual fantasies, a New York psychiatrist who seems to have taken on one patient too many, a beautiful call girl caught up between the cops and a vicious razor wielding killer, and the killer herself, a tall, blonde, elusive psycho named Bobby. Dressed to Kill contains all the heart stopping elements of classic suspense thriller. The legendary writer director Brian De Palma turns up the heat and takes them one step further to create a masterpiece. Screen legend Michael Caine stars as the fashionable Manhattan therapist faced with the murderous puzzle, the sudden hideous slaying of one of his patients, with a straight razor stolen from his office. Desperate to find the slasher before anyone else is hurt, the doctor soon finds himself lost in a provocative and deadly maze of obsession, deviance, and deceit. Stanley scored by Pino Donaggio with terrific turns by Angie Dickinson, Nancy Allen, Dennis Franz, and Keith Gordon. Dressed to Kill's a psychosexual tour de force from the modern master of the macabre. X-Ray, you said Dressed to Kill would never get made today. Probably not, X-Ray. Probably not. Just because of the way, people are so afraid to say anything about some certain thematic elements that are in this movie. The mayor, you say, I need a Kino 4K of Dress to Kill. Yeah, I'm hoping to let people know how the transfer looks. I just haven't had a chance to check it out yet. Actually, you said that train station she gets harassed by the black guys is in Times Square station, the S train, I think. Awesome. You got it nailed down to the exact train and everything, X-Ray. I'm impressed. And I'm not being sarcastic. I really am impressed. X-Ray, you say, and just like in real life, the cop gives zero fucks about the woman's plight. Haha, exactly. Mayor, you say, Dress to Kill, Cruising, and Al Sweet Owls feel like American Giallos. They definitely do. Mayor, actually, I think me and Darren, who unfortunately I was hoping that Darren would be in here tonight, but like I said, he may be, catching some Z's because I'm sure it's probably either close or getting up in the wee morning hours in the UK where he is at. So, perhaps he can catch this later. Um, but yeah, we have talked, he and I, many times about Dress to Kill being an American Giallo, and Steve and I have talked a little bit about it being an American Giallo as well as, not just me talking about it, but I've heard other people talk about it that way. Yes, Wes, Dana Lynn is alive again. Yes, Wes, we did. We did record Eurocult yesterday, so I guess you can hound Steve if you want him to get on it and get it ready to go. We talked about House by the Cemetery actually. Um, we didn't have Dirk on there with us. I'm not sure if Dirk just forgot or got his Sundays mixed up because Steve did have us take, an extra week off before we did it. So, or, the time change confused everybody or something. But we did, it was me and Steve and Darren. We got together and did a Eurocult yesterday. And Wes, you probably didn't hear me earlier, but I got a job. I got the job working for the Smile Doctors IT department, 100% remote, and I'm just thrilled to death that I got the job. So they offered me the job today. I start the Monday after Thanksgiving. So you haven't heard from nobody's heard from Dirk lately. I think maybe Texas said that he did a stream like the other night or something. I don't know exactly what day, but well, thank you, Wes. I appreciate that. I was telling everybody else that Steve was none too thrilled with me. He was not happy with me and picked a fight with me when he got home. But you know, um, If you want to know more about the gory details, I could probably message you later. Yeah, so it feels good that some people say congratulations. Don't try to pick fights with me after I worked so hard to find another job. But anyway, Dress to Kill is actually one of my favorite New York slashers. I absolutely love this movie. Okay, so let's talk about the one thing that I don't like about this movie. Um, and that is Angie Dickinson. I hate Angie Dickinson's character in this. And I'm not saying that maybe De Palma told her to act the way she does, but she's so weird to me in this. Everybody else I like. I like Michael Caine. I like Nancy Allen. I like Keith Gordon. Hell, I even like Dennis Franz. Even though he is such a sleazy asshole through most of it, or he seems to be. Um, you know, everybody else just seems to do a great job, but I got so annoyed with Angie Dickinson. Uh, you know, her as old as, I don't know exactly how old she was when she was playing this, but you know, faking orgasms with her husband and then going out to a museum and ending up going home with a guy and screwing that guy and then finding out the guy has an STD, and I'm like, that's what you get. Uh and I just the way she acts and like she's acting like a freaking nympho, like, oh God, I can't get enough sex, can't get enough sex. And she's practically having sex with the guy in the back of the taxi cab and she just doesn't care. It's like she doesn't have a care in the world. The guy's taking her panties off. And for a woman her age, again, I don't know what her exact age was, but she obviously looked too old to me to be having these sexual trysts all over the place. She was acting like a whore, is what she was acting like. She was not, to me, acting like a woman who was having sexual problems. She was acting like a freaking nympho that wanted sex at all times, is what she was acting like. And I was like, you don't need a therapist. You need, to be going standing out on a street corner somewhere and getting it at 50 times a night or something. I don't know. But I didn't like Angie Dickinson at all. But the rest of the movie I loved. Um, and with or without Angie Dickinson, I still love the movie. I would highly, highly recommend this, especially to anybody that hasn't seen it. But again, find a for free version. Don't go out and buy this until you decide if this is something that you're definitely going to watch multiple times. Um, what she said, why wasn't he happy? What the fuck? What a bitch. LOL. Well, like I said, I'll message you later and give you some details on it. But nobody can ever figure Steve out. I'll just say that. Um, Thank you, X-Ray. I appreciate that. You say congrats on the new gig, Dana. X-Ray, you say Angie Dickinson has psyche issues in the movie. I think she has vagina issues in this movie, actually. Um, Well, she said, "This isn't a slasher, but it's in New York City. What are your thoughts on Audrey Rose? I watched the Arrow Blu-ray yesterday." Well, Wes, it's been a few years, I think, since I saw Audrey Rose, but I do remember liking it. I liked the atmosphere real well. I thought there were some genuinely creepy moments in Audrey Rose as well. Um, yeah, I think it's a decent movie, and I would like to go back and rewatch it at some point. I think I have a DVD of it, actually. Actually, you say she was one horny old broad. Yeah, she certainly was. So, anyway, that is Dressed to Kill. Um, Now, this next movie I'm going to talk about does not take place completely in New York City, but part of it takes place in New York City. And that is kind of the extra sleazy part of the movie. And what I'm talking about is Nightmare, or Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. This again is Steve's copy on Blu ray, the 35th anniversary edition, put out by Code Red. And really, the only beef I have with this release is that there is an interview with director Romano Scavellini, which in this version it's subtitled by cult icon Damon Picard. But when this originally was put out, I think the DVD version, old Bill Olsen put, he put these other extras on there, and then he has this interview with the director who doesn't obviously doesn't speak English, no freaking subtitles. So nobody that English was the only language they know is going to be able to understand this. It's like, why put it on there if you're not going to put any subtitles on it? So I guess he heard enough, and he probably figured out how to blame the fans for the reason why he didn't put wasn't able to put the damn subtitles on. Um, but again, this is a really sleazy movie, especially the New York scenes with the killer going into peep shows and having the girls like lick the glass. And there's a scene of a girl who's actually using a vibrator and, uh, telling the guy, I wish you were in here with me, and just doing all the, I'm not going to go into all the sexual stuff that happens in the first part of this movie. Um, but you do definitely have the gore in here. You have people getting their heads cut off, and, you know, throats slit. There's one I find this scene to be very creepy. Um, the killer, it doesn't escape from the asylum. He's actually let go, like he's been on this experimental drugs and experimental treatment, and they think they have cured him, but it turns out no, they haven't. And so then the doctors have to spend time trying to retrieve him. And he's making a not exactly cross country trip, but he ends up traveling from New York to Florida. And so the New York parts, or what I'm talking about, is just extra sleazy. But there's a scene where he follows a woman home after she's been to a nightclub or something, with her date, and she's like, I just got to go home. And like, instead of letting the guy go home with her, she wants to be Miss Independent Woman, as a lot of women did during that time period, and some still do. Um, I got to get up early or whatever for work in the morning. I just got to go home and rest. I can't hang out anymore, or, I don't want you sleeping over or whatever. So she goes home by herself, and the phone rings, and I think she's dropped something on the floor, or she kneels down to get the phone or something. Um, and when I think about the time she picks up the phone or goes to lay the phone back down, the killer raises up behind her. You see him. And I find that scene really, really creepy. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't own this, try to find a for free version of it. Um, don't go out and run out and buy it, especially not from Bill freaking Olsen. Um, and and you will see what I'm talking about. But beware, you know, I wouldn't have sensitive viewers in here when you're watching this because there's a lot of heavy sexual content to this. There's a lot of gore in it. And you just might not want them seeing this. Also, if you are sensitive to large amounts of violence and gore and stuff like that, then you might not want to watch Nightmare. But other than that, I would say definitely give it a try if you could um, find a for free version. I'm going to give you a little bit of a plot synopsis um, before we switch over to the last two. So, Nightmare, the low budget 1981 horror film that fans have requested and clamored for on Blu ray for years, has arrived. Mentally unbalanced patient George Tatum, played by Baird Stafford, is released from a New York mental hospital, slums it up on sleazy 42nd Street, and then travels to Florida to terrorize an unsuspecting family. Brutal, uncompromising, and graphic, this is one nightmare that you'll never forget. Originally released unrated to theaters during the height of the slasher craze in the early 1980s, this slasher splatter classic has garnered a huge cult horror fan base in the years since. Romano, Romano Scavellini's Nightmare delivers all the gore and sleazy thrills to satisfy even the most jaded horror aficionado. Uh, Nightmare is presented fully uncut in a widescreen animal representation. The wait is finally over, but the nightmare has just begun. And that is Nightmare. And it is uncut. This is the 35th anniversary edition. Yes, X-Ray. I am going to talk about Sisters next. Yes, I actually tried to get a list together. I was able to get 8 together, and I'm probably going to do a second one of these where I cover a few more. So never fear if I didn't cover one that you thought I would cover tonight, because more than likely I will be covering it in the next one. Mary say Angie Dickinson is 91 now. She must have been pushing 50 when she made Dress to Kill. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Mayor. Yeah, Wes. Bill tried his best, LOL. Um, Mary said it's been decades since I've seen Nightmare. Wasn't there a scene with dismembered body parts in a bed? Um, I mean, there's a scene that keeps popping up where there's a severed head. I don't recall there being like a bunch of dismembered body parts, but definitely a dismembered head. Okay. So the next one I'm going to talk about, and then we've got one more, and I will officially be done for the night. But this is another Brian De Palma movie, Sisters, Siamese twins at birth. What the devil has joined together, let no man cut asunder. So, little bit of a plot synopsis for Sisters. Before 1973, Brian De Palma was impossible to pigeonhole. He made comedies, political satires, and openly experimental pieces. But with Sisters, originally released as Blood Sisters in the UK, he turned to the suspense thriller and discovered his natural home, and a style that would lead directly to later masterpieces like Carrie, Dress to Kill, and Blowout. When Danielle, Margot Kidder, meets potential boyfriend Philip after appearing on the TV show Peeping Toms, a nod to Michael Powell's Shocker, she invites him home only to attract the ire of her twin sister Dominique. From across the courtyard, rear window style, a reporter, Grace, played by Jennifer Salt, witnesses Philip being murdered by one of the twins, but the police find no body or any physical evidence. Naturally, Grace takes things into her own hands and discovers more about the sisters' relationship than she bargained for. Strongly influenced by Alfred Hitchcock and Roman Polanski, with a score by the great Bernard Herrmann, Sisters was the first true Brian De Palma film. It's been a little while since I saw Sisters. This is the Arrow release. I bought it during one of their, I believe, their summer sales that they had in the last few years. Um, I love this film, though. This film is really, in my opinion, creepy. You definitely see the Hitchcock influences in both this one and Dress to Kill as well. Evidently, Brian De Palma was a huge Hitchcock fan. Um, and it was called by the Hollywood Reporter as the most genuinely frightening film since Hitchcock's Psycho. Now, I don't know if I would go that far, but it is creepy. It is, in my opinion, dark. I think Margot Kidder puts in an amazing performance in this. And also, Brian De Palma just expertly directs this movie. Very beautifully shot. I think Dress to Kill's beautifully shot too. In a lot of ways, Carrie's beautifully shot. Almost all of Brian De Palma's movies, in my opinion, have great cinematography in them. And I just think that De Palma is a great director. I don't feel that De Palma rips off anybody that he, appreciates, which he obviously appreciates Hitchcock. Um, so I don't feel, sometimes I get the feeling that they are, they might say, I'm doing a homage to Hitchcock or, somebody else. Um, but I don't think De Palma does that. Uh, I just think that he uses maybe techniques that Hitchcock used and kind of twists them a little bit to make them a little more unique to his style of filmmaking. But I can still tell that the Hitchcock influence is there. Mary said, "I hope that either Arrow or Criterion releases Sisters on 4K." That would be cool. I would be willing to buy it if either one of those companies, especially, put it out. Um, so anyway, that is Sisters. Again, I highly, highly recommend it. If you don't own it, try to find a for free version. It's definitely worth at least one watch. Um, The last one is an Argento film that I don't much care for, but I wanted to cover it because it, I think it kind of fits the slasher genre, and definitely uh, part of it takes place in New York City, and that is Dario Argento's Inferno. Um, DVD Maniac said Argento at his very best. I, for one, don't agree with that. It's just an okay movie to me, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a plot synopsis to this. This is part of the Three Mothers trilogy. So, a young woman stumbles upon a mysterious diary that reveals the secrets of the Three Mothers, um, and unleashes a nightmare world of demonic evil. As the unstoppable horror spreads from Rome to New York City, this unholy trinity must be stopped before the world is submerged in the blood of the innocent. So, this is supposed to go along with the likes of Suspiria. And yeah, I don't know. Suspiria is a fantastic film. Inferno, on the other hand, in my opinion, I find it too slow. It's not rated, and people talk about the fantastic water scene, the underwater scene. Now, I will say that is a fantastically shot scene. But for me, it does not save the film from being too long and too slow and, dare I say it, too boring at some points and times. It is 106 minutes, so it's not super, super long. Um, but I just thought that it drug things out too much. And to me, that one fantastic underwater scene is not enough to push this one up above stuff like Suspiria and Deep Red and Tenebrae and all those others. X-Ray, you say Inferno definitely had a higher body count. Like what? 25 people get killed in the movie. I think a lot of people do get killed in the movie, X-Ray. But again, that is not enough to save it for me. But who am I to begrudge somebody liking this film? And I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying for me, compared with other Argento films, I didn't find that it held up. Now, I think Steve likes this one pretty well. And I killed another one of those damn flies. Maybe that'll be the last one that's swarming around me tonight. Um, but you know, if people like it, they like it. It just was not my cup of tea. Yeah, I agree, X-Ray. You say it took me a while to warm up to Keith Emerson. He's great, but he can't replace Goblin. I like Keith Emerson, and I actually I was able to find the vinyl soundtrack to Inferno that Keith Emerson did in a secondhand shop here in Louisville, and I've listened to it and I really enjoy it. But yeah, he can't replace Goblin. Definitely, uh, that is a very true statement in my book. X-Ray, you say, I think one of the Urban Legends movies ripped off one of the kills in this, the window kill. I'm gonna have to go back and watch Urban Legends again. Mary say Inferno isn't as good as Suspiria, but it's far better than The Mother of Tears. That was a disappointing conclusion to the Three Mothers trilogy. Now, I've heard that too, Mayor. It's been a while since I've seen, or just a bit since I've seen Mother of Tears. Um, Suspiria was probably my favorite of those three. Um, I think Suspiria blows the other two out of the water, frankly. X-Ray is saying, I'm pretty sure Carpenter took inspiration from the water scene for his water scene in Big Trouble in Little China. Ah, yeah, I hadn't thought about that. X-Ray, you say Keith Emerson's best work was Inferno and Nighthawks. X-Ray, you say Inferno was way better than Mother of Tears. Shit, at least Inferno looks and sounds like it could be a sequel to Suspiria. Gotcha. Um, so anyway, that is Inferno. I would recommend it to Argento fans, but again, Steve gave me this copy when he got. He may have gotten either another Blu-ray or I think he got another Blu-ray copy of it, and he gave me his old Blue Underground copy. Um, and I'd be willing to go back and watch it again at some point. Like I said, I don't absolutely hate it. It's just definitely not up there in my top Argento films. Um, so, guys, I have officially reached the end of this New York slasher stream. Um, again, I was hoping that Darren would be in here, but perhaps he'll be able to watch this later. I was even hoping he would be able to join me on this one. But Darren did bring up an interesting thing to me, the idea of having other people on some of these streams where I do a retrospective about different directors or something. Like he mentioned Toby Hooper. There could be tons of others. John Carpenter, uh, George Romero. I mean, we could cover a lot of different ones and then have, several people on here live with me, and we could all have a discussion. People in the chat can participate in the discussion. I think it'd be a really cool idea. Um, and so I want to encourage any and all of you that would be interested in coming on live for any of these upcoming streams that I might be having. Just let me know. And like I said, I've started putting the link uh to go backstage. And then of course when people go backstage, I see them pop up down here where you can see me as well. But and then all I have to do is click to add you to the stream. It's that simple. So Don't worry about it being like an imposition or a problem for me, because it certainly is not. X-ray, you say, I think maybe one part was shot in New York City, the bridge in Central Park where the librarian gets it. Yeah, there's still more of these things swarming. Um, Sorry, guys, but that one was just landing on my face. You'd think I was dead the way these things are landing on my face and stuff. Um, but yeah, I think you're right, X-ray, about that. Um, so I'll probably get off here around 10ish, which is in about a minute or so. But is there anything, that somebody would want me to cover on one of these live streams that I haven't covered yet? You know, you could mention a director or something that I could do a retrospective on, or, something similar to these New York slashers. And I will certainly write those down. Um, if anybody wants to give me any ideas. But sorry, we're just checking my email. X-ray said cover Steve's hidden hentai collection. Just kidding. Oh man. Best remakes. That's an interesting one. X-ray. I'm writing that one down. Since we still got 7 people in here, anybody got any other, things that they would like me to cover? Or even any watch-alongs they'd like to Yes, Mayor, you say, yeah. I hope that you can find the source where the flies are spawning. They just don't make a good co-host for the live stream. No, they don't. I don't want to have to kill my co-hosts off, and I'm having to kill these ones off because they're just freaking driving me nuts. Um, yes, X-ray, worst remakes. I could maybe make that like a double one, like best remakes, best of remakes, and worst of remakes, and yeah, those 2 very good ones. X-ray, thank you. But I think, guys, since it's 10:01 now, I'm probably gonna want to relax and get myself something to eat. I made some apple bread yesterday, so I think I'm gonna have me a piece of apple bread as my snack for the night. But I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Actually, this was, I believe, more popular than the cruising watch along last night. Um, and I don't know if I'll be doing anything tomorrow night. Hopefully, I will. If I don't, I should be doing the Cheese Extreme Wednesday for Wednesday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If I do something tomorrow night, I'll try to let you guys know quicker. And I'll also make a decision on what I'm going to try to cover. But again, I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. With all that being said, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night and try to get a little rest. I will see everyone on the flip side. You guys have a good night now.